Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mimo Prince, and today on my channel I'm going to be taking you guys down memory lane. So I'll be telling you a story of my cooking experience. So let's just get right into this video. So this is more like a get ready with me. I'm going for Davido's concert in a hotel, so I'm going to be getting ready here while I tell you my little story. So first off, I'm prepping my hair. I just want to coil it before putting it on while I talk to you. So okay, I'm going to start from where I'm going to start from growing up. So growing up, um growing up, my mom was a working class lady. Yeah, she was working in a company and it was taking so much of her time. And we grew up with house helps doing most of the house chores. So we're never taught to do anything in the house because it's either my mom is doing the work or whatsoever house help is doing the work. I think I grew up to know like 5 to 8 house helps, like different kinds. If this one is misbehaving, my mom will go and take another one just like that. So we're never taught to do any house chores. Maybe if we were taught to do any house chores, it was mostly the simple ones like just washing your pants and all that. So we're taught to do most of the jobs like washing the plates. Yeah, I know I was taught to wash plates, but the major thing I wasn't taught to do was to cook. Yeah, my mom never like sat me down and said, oh, this has to put Maggi in the soup, this has to do this has to do that. No, when she was always cooking, she doesn't really care. She will cook and serve her. She doesn't care. She cook for my dad and all those. Maybe if we want to come to the kitchen, we can stay in the kitchen, but really we don't know what she's doing. So it was like that for a long time. Like she doesn't really care. It's not as if she doesn't really care. Her job was taking the most of her. So she didn't really put her eyes down to say, oh, I want you to cook today so that I'll taste the food and see how it really tastes. So we never did that. We never really did that. So mostly maybe when we want to cook for ourselves, I am my sister, we can just cook what we eat and we don't really care about the taste. What's going on? This is what I do for my frontal, so I'm just going to be coiling the hair because I want to go for a coily look. I always go for a coily look. Maybe that's because I love coiling hairs. So over to my story. We didn't really care if we can cook or not. All we knew was, oh, let's just cook and fill our stomachs with food. So we didn't really cook professionally, maybe for my dad or anything. Nah. My mom was always doing the cooking because at a point she stopped hiring house help. That was when we were already grown. Like we were already grown. She stopped the house help stuff. And she got retired, so she was staying more at home. She was staying at home a lot, so we didn't really need the house help anymore. So but then I still didn't learn how to cook professionally. Like I didn't until I got into school. I gained admission into school, and my dad didn't want me to live in a hostel. I didn't want me to live alone at the time because my parents were overprotective of me. Like especially my dad, he was too protective. He wanted me to live with a guardian in Benin. So I started living with a guardian in Benin, someone he knows. So I was living with a family. I was living with them in their family house close to my school. So when I got there, I was interrogated by the mother of the house. How old are you? I was 18. I was barely 18 then. So I told her I'm 18. She said, okay. I think the next day, because I sleep a lot. That's one bad habit I grew up with. I used to sleep a lot because my parents used to let me sleep as I like. So I was still thinking, oh, these people I came to live with, they are lenient like my parents. I didn't know that life have changed. Like your life have changed like this. You don't have to sleep like that anymore. So So the next day I slept. After my devotion, I was still sleeping. And normally you're supposed to do your chores after my devotion, right? But in my own house, after my devotion, I like to sleep till I'm satisfied. Then when I wake up, I will not do my chores in my own time. Like nobody does it for me. They will leave it for me. I'll do it in my own time. So that habit I had, I took it over to this family house. And when I was sleeping, their mom came to tap me. I was like, "What are you doing? Are you supposed to be sleeping by now? Are you supposed to be sleeping by this time?" I was a bit scared because she's like harsh. She's very harsh. So she was like, "Take up the broom and sweep. Do anything in the house." So I took the broom and I started sweeping, and that became more of like my personal chores to sweep the house every morning. So I think I was a visitor to her, so she didn't really allow me enter her kitchen like that, because maybe she was still trying to get to know who this little girl that came to stay with them is or was. So I did that for a long time. Then later on, she started telling me to do some chores in the kitchen, and she would tell me to cook. I'll cook things like rice, yam, noodles. So I was more of a noodles person than food person. So when she discovered that I was always cooking noodles for myself, she then seized my noodles. Anytime my dad would buy provisions for me, she would take them for the last born of the house. So a time came. She knew that I didn't really know how to cook. She was asking me, "Why don't you know how to cook?" Because there was a day she asked me to cook soup, and I was unable to cook the soup very well. Like, it was tasteless, it was baseless. So that's when she really knew that this girl doesn't even know how to cook. So she asked me like, "I don't understand, why don't you know how to cook? Why is your soup like that?" I said I didn't really cook at home. My mom wasn't bothered. My mom wanted to do the whole chores herself. She wasn't bothered. Like, maybe she was just treating us as princesses, forgetting the future. So she was like, okay. So anytime she was cooking in the kitchen, she'd tell me to be there. I was always there in the kitchen with her cooking. So basically, that was how I learned how to cook. So guys, this is more like my first time to properly install my front door. I've been doing it the wrong way. Like, not the wrong way though, it's wrong, but today I want to do it in a professional way. So I'll say this is the first time I'm doing my hair in a professional way. So watch me do it. Watch me do my hair in a professional. Okay. So I'm going to be using this ghost board.
2,000 years later.
So I'm going to be doing my brow first as my frontal get laid with the glue. So as I was saying, at a point I started feeling like I was a slave. I started feeling like I became her housemaid because we were practically four girls in the house, but I think I was doing most of the job, most of the house chores, especially in the kitchen. I'm not saying the other children didn't work, but I was doing most. And most times when I'll complain to my mom, I'll call my mom and complain to her, tell her, oh, this is what's going on. I'll tell my mom that I don't like the way I'm being treated. I feel like a slave and all that. And my mom will always tell me, don't worry, it's training. She's training you for the future. I will not always see it that way. I saw it like I was a slave in the house. So, to the extent that I think I couldn't concentrate in my schoolwork very well because you were living with other people. Most times, the time you're supposed to be reading, you're doing other things. You're getting distracted by others. Apart from the cooking aspect, I didn't feel loved. You know, when you're living with others, when you're living with a family that you're not related to, I don't know why it's like that in Nigeria. They always tend not to like treat you like their own. Most times I get treated like their own, but you know, let's just say 40 out of 100 I get treated like their own, but the remaining 60 I get to be treated like an outsider, like an outcast and stuff like that. And I was really very young, so it got to me quickly. Like I felt a certain kind of way. So I remember this certain day. It was a Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday, and you know the people I live with, it's a clergy family, like a pastor's family. So they get to cook. Um, they get to cook some Sundays, like for the deacons of the church, you know that, like the pastor's wife gets to cook for the deacons. So there was this Sunday. I used to call her my auntie then. My auntie bought like giant snails, giant snail, and it was like in a sack on a Sunday morning. So I was asked to break those snails, giant snails, and I've never done something like that in my entire life as a princess that I was. I don't do stuff like that. I've never done it. So she showed me how. I used my initiative and I started breaking the snail. Trust me, when I was done breaking those snails, like my hands had bruises, lots of bruises all over them. Like it had cuts, different kind of cuts, cut marks, bruises all over them on a Sunday morning, and I even went late to church. So that really took me off balance, like something I've never done before. So I called my mom. I was always calling my mom, you know. It was more like when a princess is sent to, like a princess that doesn't do anything, when she's sent to work or become a maid. So you always call your family and be like, I don't like this, I don't want to be here. So basically that's what I was always doing. I always call my mom and tell her, I don't like this, I was made to break snails today and I have bruises all over my hands. My mom will always laugh at me, and she always like, you're being trained, don't see it as punishment. And mind you, I wasn't that lazy. Like when it comes to fetching of water, you call me the king of fetching of water. Yeah, like fetching of water from outside the house. Become the king of that. I used to do that a lot, so I felt like doing that made me a good girl, made me strong, like I could do anything. But I wasn't good in the kitchen, and that was where I was being trained, and I was always complaining. So guys, I'm just going to be brushing my eyeshadow. Let me rush that, please. Okay. So guys, in all of this, I felt like very bitter. Oh my god, the noise, the noise. So in all my experience, I felt very bitter. I felt like they didn't love me. That was why I was being treated that way. Made to do most of the chores and all that stuff. You can just let me film in peace. So I think I got better with cooking while I was still living there. I got very better with cooking, with house chores, to the extent that I didn't know how to set the table, especially for a man, like a father, because in Africa we have a certain type of way of setting the table for an elderly person. Um, I was It was worse to the extent that I didn't know that if you want to serve an elderly person, you have to put the food in the tray. And also, if you want to give an elderly person, let's say, rice and stew, you don't serve the rice and stew in one plate, like in one plate. You have to serve the stew in another plate and serve the rice in another plate. That's like training for serving elderly people and serving your visitors. Don't just put the stew on top of the rice. I didn't know that. Oh my god. Guys, I'm so sorry about the noises you might be hearing. I'm done with this place. They don't allow me film. That's just it. They don't allow me film. Like, there is no time. I know most of you like study the environment. No time is free around here. It's always noisy because I live close to the road. So guys, please pardon my noisy background, okay? So what was I saying? So I was saying you don't put the stew on top of the rice if you're serving an elderly person and if you're serving a visitor. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I learned it the day she told me to serve her food. She was sitting in the sitting room and I gave her rice and the stew was on top of the rice and she was like, "What is this? What the hell is this?" And that was the day I learned how to serve properly, like how to serve food properly. So it was not just cooking, it was about maintenance, by being a woman, specifically being a woman, how to handle the kitchen. That was what it was for me. I'm grateful though, because when I left her house, I started living alone. The training helped me. It really helped me grow because I could, do things properly. And I was very, very confident with the fact that I now know how to cook. And I wasn't shy anymore about the fact that, oh, I can't cook. Or, like, I was very bold about it. I I was bold on cooking. My cooking confidence got boosted up, and I could scream to the world, I can cook anything. So when I traveled home for holiday, I would always show my mom that, oh, I can cook this, I can cook this, I can cook this, and I'll cook it and they will eat it, especially my dad. So I'm actually thankful for her training, though it was very rigid. It was like I was in a military home. For me, just me alone, I feel now that maybe she was trying to, pass a message, because the rest of the children are living under her roof. They grew up living with her. They are kids, so I'm the only stranger, and she might be able to, train them, and might not be able to train me very easily. So I guess that's why she gave me the workload to learn, because I will not live in her house forever. So that's what I got from that training though. And I'm thankful, very, very thankful. Later, or I know that I started getting into relationships, so I'll always get questions from the guys like, can you cook? Are you sure you can cook? I'm like, why do you think I cannot cook? They're like, oh, pretty girls like you don't know how to cook. And I'm like, really? Where did they get that notion from? So just imagine now that I didn't learn how to cook. I would have been like, oh my god, I don't know how to cook. I don't like going into the kitchen and stuff like that. But I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful that I can cook now. And apart from that, basically she would not teach me everything, but she taught me the basics, the basic thing to know. So most of the food I even eat in my house right now are what I learned online. Maybe I learned from YouTube and all that. So she shaped my future. Yeah, she taught me the basic things I need to know as a woman. Because just imagine that I lived in a hostel and I did whatsoever I wanted to do on my own time. I lived on noodles and takeouts. Getting married, I would have been telling my husband, oh, I don't know how to cook, I don't like cooking, my mom does most of the chores. How would that how would that sound? Like, how would that sound? And also I later got to understand myself that I didn't like the kitchen. That was why most of the times my mom was always doing the cooking and would not be there too much. So I think it's actually, this is my notion. I don't know what you think. You can put your opinions in the comment section. I think that every woman should make cooking her hobby. That's what I think. So I don't know what you think, because it's good for every lady to know how to cook. It's good for every lady to know the basics of cooking. So most people will say, oh, I don't love cooking, cooking is not my hobby, cooking is not my thing. For a lady, I think it should be your thing. Yeah, it should be your thing. So once upon a time, Mima didn't know how to cook, but I learned how to cook, and now I can say I am a very, very good cook. I can cook lots of dishes. I can cook continental dishes, I can cook African dishes. Basically, I'm very versatile when it comes to cooking. I can look up things on the internet, learn how to make them, go to the market, get the evidence, and explore. Yeah, that's my thing now. That's what I do, and I love exploring, especially in the kitchen. I love to explore cooking. So I feel every woman should be like me. So guys, I'm done glamming up. How do I look? I know I look beautiful. So tell me, what's your thoughts on cooking? What's your thoughts? What's your take on cooking? Please leave your opinions down in the comment section. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share to your family and friends. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for always coming back for me. And if you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. My name is Mimo Prince. So I think we're done here. Thanks for staying with me. Until next time, peace.